what's going on? Caden Cleveland back here again with the Oklahoma Senate, and you're joining us for another episode of Budget Breakdown. Of course, we're here in Senator Roger Thompson's office, our appropriations chair. So, Senator, thank you so much for having us.
Hey, I appreciate you dropping by, even in the interim. You take time to drop by. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, because you have a lot of work going on, even during the interim, right?
There's no breaks.
That is for sure. So, Senator, today we're kind of kicking off a new series that we're going to do kind of a line of back-to-back episodes where we're going to be focusing around the same, I guess, general idea, but just focusing in on different state agencies. And what I was wanting to have you explain to us today is all the new investments that go into a particular agency. And today, in particular, I was hoping you could narrow in on common education. So with that, I'll kind of turn it over to you. Would you mind explaining to us what the key new investments are in common education and kind of put that in the context of the whole big picture?
Absolutely. And again, these are individuals' taxpayer dollars. And so I appreciate what you're doing. We want people to know where their dollars are going. This is new investments this fiscal year in common education. So when we look at teacher pay, we added $58 million, almost $59 million to that. Now, one thing to keep in mind, that number is a 10-month number. And so we'll come back this next year. That will have to increase and be closer to $70 million whenever that we get to the 12-month number. But for this year's budget, there's $58.8 million in teacher pay.
Gotcha.
There's also a conversation when I'm out in the district, does that include teacher benefits? And the answer to that's no. That we added additional dollars of $18.9 million for flex benefits that will go with this same dollar amount.
Gotcha.
And so the teachers will actually be able to get the $1,220 raise. The districts will have the money that will be coming to them through the formula that will pay for the flex benefits. And so it's not a hurt to the district.
So that's a question we've actually gotten as well. I'm glad you bring that up, is that a lot of rumors going around right now that the $58 million that's been invested also includes a whole bunch of other different things. The $58 million is just for teacher salary increases.
That's correct.
Right?
That's exactly right.
Gotcha.
And like I said, we're adding the flex benefits. Also, in this last year's budget, we added RSA money, or Reading Sufficiency Act money, and we added
which is a big deal, by the way.
It's a big deal. Whenever that you look at the third grade reading, and man, we need to be working on third grade reading. I think if we can teach them to read by the time they're in third grade, they do well. If we don't teach them to read by the time they're in third grade, they don't do well. We have the data to substantiate that statement.
One thing, I did a quick interview with Senator Stanislawski, he's our education chairman here in the Senate, and one of the lines he used that I really appreciate was that if we can invest in this, we'll see students up until third grade learning to read. But then after that, if we can invest in it correctly, they'll be reading to learn after
good way
that.
To put it.
And so that's one reason I'm so excited about this new huge investment into the Reading Sufficiency Act, because I think we'll see a huge change in students.
Me too. And right now, this is the request. This fully funds the Reading Sufficiency Act. It finishes out at the top, and so it's about $11 million. And so we're excited about that, to be able to put that into that very specific program. Must be used for that.
Gotcha.
In addition to that, we added this year $74.3 million just simply to classroom funding. And that's something.
Walk us through what is that? What all does that?
Well, when we deal with classroom funding, you can deal with class sizes. You can hire aides for that particular class. Class sizes was in the Senate one of our major points we want to do this year, to allow them, if they want to add a teacher, they're going to be able to do that, to reduce that. If they want to add materials, they can add materials. They can do whiteboards. They can do whatever they want to do in those classrooms, just simply for teaching. This is must be used in the classroom, but unrestricted the way that they're using it. And so when you look at all that together, and you're looking at about an additional appropriation of $157.9 million into common education this year.
Love that. So what I love about the new investments, is that we really see some key line item investments. But then on top of that, we left it with this classroom funding very open to an extent, so that individual districts can really focus on and invest in areas that they most need, I guess. Is that kind of where you're at on it?
That's exactly right. And so last year, you might have known, and when I look at last year, we were about $2.9 billion into common education.
Yes, absolutely.
And this year, into common education is the first time that we're over $3 billion into common education.
Love that.
That's an appropriated amount. And so we often talk about our investment in education. We can talk about, do we need to do more? Probably so. However, it is our #1 investment in the state of Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
Now, if you look back at our expenditures for the last year, the only thing that comes close to this is the Healthcare Authority at a little over $1 billion. And so we put a lot of money into common education.
Wow, that is amazing. And this is the first time in state history that it's been over $3 billion.
That's right.
Is that right?
That's
wow.
exactly right.
Wow.
And so again, this is new money. This is our total appropriation money.
That's good.
Now,
that's a distinction right there, the
that's
appropriations, right?
This is not the total common education spend. The total, and if you put together the federal money and you put together the local money,
right.
and you put together the state appropriation money and oil and gas money, the 1017 money, you put it all together into one fund, you're going to come up with about $9.4 billion in expenditure in common education in Oklahoma.
Wow. That is awesome. Thank you so much, first off, because we've been getting a lot of questions around new investments, specifically in education. But also for putting it in context of the appropriated dollars compared to the total budget or total spending of common education. So huge investments being made this year by the legislature, continuing to education.
So I want to add one thing before you walk out the door. And when we look at teacher pay, this is a common education teacher pay.
Okay.
But we also have teachers that are in the Department of Corrections.
Yes.
They also got a raise. We have teachers that are in career tech. They also got a raise.
Wow.
We have teachers in the juvenile affairs that are certified teachers. They also got the same raise this last year. So anywhere there's a certified teacher in the state of Oklahoma, they receive the same raise as those that are in common education.
But again, this $58 million is just for
common education. That's all it is.
Just for those common ed teachers. Right.
Gotcha. And so when you come back, and the next time we may talk about career tech and higher ed together, and you're going to see teacher pay again. When we start looking into career tech, it's not a duplication. It's more money. That's good. Into the teachers.
That's good. And just to beat on again here, these are all separate investments.
Yes.
These are not duplicated numbers.
No.
These are all individual investments that have been made by the legislature this year to further invest in our common education system.
That's right.
I love that. And like you said, next week I really want to focus on career tech, maybe higher education, kind of going along the lines of education. Really dial in and kind of look at the new investments that are in these new agencies. So.
That's right. And so my job in the interim is not only to keep an eye on these, how's the money being spent. I'm already dealing with some of our subcommittee chairs as they're going to the agencies. And we're already preparing for this next year.
Wow.
And so we want to know where this money is spent, how's it being spent, what do we have to do to build on this for next year.
Love that. Absolutely. Well, Senator, thank you so much again for walking us through that. Extremely helpful just to understand the whole big picture, but also to know that the continuing investment in education, one, is not over, and two, that on top of the huge investments that were made last year, this year, just about as big of an education investment. So, absolutely. Thank you so much for leading the fight and all that. We really appreciate it. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've been able to learn a little bit about the common education, new investments, their total budget, specifically their appropriated budget. So. Next week, what we're going to do is continue kind of this topic of examining the new investments in our state agencies. Next week, we're going to look at career tech and maybe higher education as well. So you're not going to want to miss that episode. If you do have any questions for us, though, specifically on common education, feel free to comment down below this video, and we will address those questions next week. So, Senator Thompson, anything else to add?
That's it. Thanks for dropping by.
Love it. Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much again, and I guess we'll see you again next week or in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Guys, thanks again, and we will see you here in a few weeks with another update. Bye, guys.